The first time Captain Jaxon Hale saw a female of the Draeli race, he understood immediately why the other human soldiers kept their distance. It wasn't the alien features, those they had gotten used to over months of uneasy alliance. The Draeli females were tall, their bodies carved with graceful lines of sapphire blue scales that caught the light like liquid gemstones. Their eyes glowed faintly gold, and they moved with a predator's elegance. No, it wasn't their looks. It was the rumors. They said the females were dangerous, deadly even, to any male who tried to get close. Some said their touch carried venom. Others whispered of old Draeli customs where suitors had survived lethal tests before being accepted. Whatever the truth was, no one wanted to be the fool who found out the hard way. So the human soldiers kept their distance. All except Jaxon. He didn't believe in campfire stories. And even if the rumors were true, he wasn't the kind of man to scare easy. Not after fighting 2 wars, surviving 3 crashes, and dragging a squad out of Plasma Storm on Rhea 9. Besides, there was something about her. Her name was Sehlira. Jaxon first noticed her on the edge of a human Draeli encampment, helping wounded soldiers, both alien and human, without a trace of fear. Her hands, long-fingered and marked with faint glowing patterns, moved with surprising gentleness as she stitched flesh, applied poultices, whispered words in her melodic language. Every time he passed by the medical tents, he caught himself staring longer than he should have. One evening, when the crimson sun dipped behind the mountains and the wind carried the scent of ash from distant fires, Jaxon found her alone, cleaning her medical tools. "You know," he said casually, "people say getting too close to your kind is dangerous." Sehlira didn't look up. "People say many things, human." Her voice carried the smooth, almost musical tone of her race, yet there was a sharp edge under it. "And is it true?" he asked, stepping closer. That made her pause. Slowly, she raised her head, golden eyes locking onto his with a look that was unreadable. "Do you always walk toward danger so freely?" "Only when I think it's worth the risk," he said, meeting her gaze without flinching. A faint smile curved her lips, barely there, but it was the first time he'd seen her show any expression at all. Over the next few days, whispers followed Jaxon everywhere. "Is he crazy?" the soldiers muttered when they saw him talking to her. "Man's got a death wish." Someone else said as Sehlira handed him a flask of some alien herbal drink, her long fingers brushing his as she passed over. But Jaxon didn't care. He learned that Sehlira was not just a healer. She was the daughter of a Draeli chieftain, trained in medicine and diplomacy. She spoke 6 languages, fought in 2 battles before she was 20, and carried herself with a quiet strength that fascinated him. He also learned that, yes, there was truth behind the fear. The Draeli females carried venom in their blood. Not deadly to their own species, but lethal to many others. A single deep bite or cut, mixed with her blood, could kill a human in minutes. So that's why no one gets close, Jaxon said one evening as they shared a fire near the edge of camp. Sehlira looked into the flames. "It is safer this way. For you. For me." But he noticed she didn't move away when his hand brushed hers as he passed her a canteen. The turning point came during a battle 3 nights later. The enemy, a rogue band of mercenaries, launched a surprise attack on the encampment. Plasma fire lit the night as humans and Draeli fought side by side. In the chaos, Jaxon spotted Sehlira tending to a wounded soldier while gunfire rained around her. "Sehlira, move!" he shouted, sprinting toward her as an enemy fighter aimed her way. Without thinking, he tackled her to the ground just as a plasma bolt scorched the air where she'd been standing. Pain shot through his arm as another blast grazed him, but he didn't stop until they were behind cover. She looked at him, really looked at him, her golden eyes wide with something like shock. "You are bleeding," she said, reaching for a medical kit. "Nothing new," he muttered, wincing as she began to work on the wound. Her hands were steady, but he could feel the warmth of her skin through his torn sleeve, the strange energy in her touch. When the battle finally ended and silence fell over the burning camp, Jaxon realized 2 things. 1, he was still alive. 2, he didn't want to keep his distance anymore. Later that night, as the soldiers tended to the wounded and rebuilt the barricades, Sehlira found him sitting alone, wrapping his arm. "You risked yourself," she said softly. He shrugged. "Wouldn't be the first time." She tilted her head, studying him. "But why me?" "Because I wanted to," he said simply. Then, after a pause, "Because I think the rumors are wrong. You're not dangerous." Sehlira's gaze dropped to his bandaged arm. "You do not understand. My kind, we are not like you. To be close to us is to accept risk. Even now, if my blood had touched your wound." She didn't finish. Jaxon leaned forward, catching her eyes again. "Then maybe I like the risk." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The fire crackled softly. The night wind carried the scent of smoke and distant rain. Finally, Sehlira said, "You are unlike the others, human." "Yeah," he said with a faint grin. "I get that a lot." In the days that followed, they spent more time together. She taught him fragments of the Draeli language. He showed her how to shoot a human rifle. She told him stories of her people's history, their customs, their old traditions. He made her laugh, an actual laugh, when he tried to pronounce a Draeli word, and ended up saying something very inappropriate instead. The soldiers kept whispering, "Of course. They say she'll kill him by accident one day." One muttered. "Or maybe on purpose." Another said, but Jaxon didn't care about them. And slowly, he began to realize Sehlira didn't either. One evening, As they stood on a ridge watching the twin moons rise, she said quietly, "Among my people, to choose a mate is serious, dangerous. It means binding lives together. If one dies, the other—" She trailed off, shaking her head. "This is why we do not choose lightly." Jaxon turned to her. "And if someone wanted to choose you?" Her golden eyes glowed faintly in the moonlight. Then he must be very certain of his heart. He smiled faintly. "I've been certain for a while now." The night before the human forces were scheduled to leave the Draeli homeworld, Sehlira came to find him. "You return to your people tomorrow," she said, her voice calm but her eyes too bright. "Yeah," Jaxon said. "Orders." There was a long silence. Then she stepped closer, closer than she'd ever been before. He could feel the faint warmth radiating from her, see the sharp glint of her scales in the moonlight. "You should fear me," she whispered. "Not a chance," he murmured back. And then, slowly, carefully, as though testing fate itself, she pressed her forehead against his. Among the Draeli, he knew, this was their most intimate gesture. The beginning of a bond, a promise stronger than words. The soldiers who saw it later would talk about it for months. How the human didn't flinch. How the alien female didn't pull away. How, for the first time, the fear around the Draeli females began to fade. Because one human had dared to get close. And lived. Because one human had seen past the danger and chosen her anyway.